Where have all the yard sales gone? La, do, la, do, la. Welcome to another episode of the Roughly Related Reselling Podcast. I'm Perry Phillips. I go by Pothead Picker on Instagram. Flips and Giggles is my eBay store. I've never said that. I don't know if I've said it or not, but Flips and Giggles is my eBay store. So check that out. And I don't know why I'm yelling. I'm not yelling right now, but I was just a second ago. Another reselling week. Yard sales have slowed down, which is... Last summer, it was like raining all the time. And so people wouldn't have the sales because it was raining. And this summer, it hasn't been raining as much. Like this past weekend, like Saturday rained a little bit, like a tiny bit. Like people see rain for the day and they're like, oh, no sale. It rained a small amount in the morning and then that was it. It was like, you could have done a yard sale. But anyway, like when I go places on vacation or other, locations, I look on like the Craigslist or wherever I look up my yard sales. And there's all fucking red dots everywhere. And just where we live, like just very few and far between. Now, I still find shit all the time. But like, it's just a lot. I'm always having to look and like, it's nonstop. But yeah, it's definitely slowed down a bunch. It was, it was really busy earlier this summer. And sorry. And then like the last few weeks, it's just been like crickets. There's not been any advertised sales in my town. Like one or two, and they're usually terrible. But this week's looking more promising. I already have like three or four on my list. So I'm hoping that later in the week they just start getting added because the weather's supposed to be fine. I don't know if it's been too hot. Like people just don't want to be out in the hot. I don't understand it. Like there's just not a ton of yard sales. I don't know if it's because people are like, oh, I'm selling this stuff on Facebook Marketplace now, But it's like, I sell shit on Marketplace and shit does not sell. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't sell for eBay prices on Facebook. Like if you're selling shit, you have to discount it and like wheel and deal. But I see a lot of people trying to sell shit on Facebook. So I don't know. I'm not worried. I'm not like, it's not me being like, oh my God, it's fucking troublesome. I'm just annoyed. I like going to yard sales. I wish there was more. I like a day when you go out and you just hit like, fucking 15 to 20 sales and find a bunch of shit. Again, I've found stuff. I've been good this last weekend. So Saturday was like kind of a wash, but I went back. So there was a sale that I think I had talked about. I'm not sure. So it was like a midweek sale that they did. And they had a bunch of these Disney jackets and sweatshirts. So when I went first, like nobody was even looking at that stuff. And so I went and looked at it and I'm like, and the prices were fucking crazy. And like, I think they had like 100 a piece on the sweatshirts or something crazy. Like, and so then like, I told them, gave them my card. I was like, yeah, I'm interested in those jackets, but I can't pay those prices. And, so then I went back because they had another sale this past weekend and there was really no other sale. So I went there and more people had like found out about it, like other resellers, and they had more like clothes. So I went and looked because it looked like they had some cool vintage clothes and stuff. So that stuff they was priced fairly reasonably. And then if you found the right lady, there was this one lady who I kept going to for pricing. And so she was a lot cheaper than everybody else that was there. It was like her parents' house and she just wanted shit gone. And she had some lady kept saying it was like her client. Like she was running this estate sale. It was like this lady didn't get up off her fucking ass the whole time. Like didn't help with anything. Like didn't give any information. She was just like, yeah, my client. So she's the one who like reached out to me on Facebook. So she reached out after the second sale because the stuff still didn't sell. Shocking. And she was like, yeah, the family was wondering what your offer would be on those jackets and stuff. And I was like, well, how many are there? She said there's 12. So I was like, I said around $10 a piece. I went a little over 10. And that's more than I wanted to spend. I have one of those jackets. I think I got it for like $3 or something like that. And it's still just sitting. So those jackets aren't fast movers. And, you're not going to get anywhere near the prices that they were wanting. So I told them I was like, 125, 130 would be my max. And she was like, oh, I don't want to take that or something. I'm like, well, you don't want to, or your client? Because they keep going from your client to you. You know what I mean? So I have a feeling I'll get a call like a couple months down the road. And then my offer will be $5 a piece. God damn, dude. There's fucking ants like just took over our house. I don't know what my daughter is such a mess. My youngest. I love her to death, but she just, you give her anything she's got, she's like messy with it. Like you give her food, she's smushing it into her fucking hands. She's like putting it next to her seat. She's like, saving it for later. She's fucking tucking it somewhere. And so we keep getting ants, and it's fucking driving me crazy. We just got rid of a bunch of those little tiny ants, got rid of those fuckers, and now we've got like the big fucking ants around. And there was just a couple before, and now they're just fucking everywhere. So I gotta put some of those little bait traps. Those things typically work, but it's just, it's really annoying. I just recently, a couple weeks ago, I was, I've been trying to do a little, because when you're a reseller and you sell from home, you've got to like prioritize time and manage your time. And so, I do stay-at-home dad shit. So that's like stay-at-home dad shit is like mom shit, I mean, if we're being sexist or whatever. So I do like all that shit, but then I've got to do like, so that's like dinner, or all getting the kids together, all that stuff. And then, you got to do like the dad shit too. So just like mowing the lawn and doing like that fucking stuff. And then I got to do like the podcast, and then I got to do the reselling stuff. And then so you got to do different, you got to wear different hats if you're doing this thing. I don't even remember where I was going with this. I had a fucking point, and I don't even remember what the fuck I was just talking about. God damn it. I wasted too much time like setting it up, and now I don't even remember what the fuck it was I was talking about. And I'm not even fucking high right now. God, that's annoying. What the fuck was I just talking about? Oh, yeah. So so you got to do some shit around the house. Stuff needs to get done. I can't just always, all my free time when my kids are down, it isn't spent on reselling. You know what I mean? It's not like, it's a majority of my time, but I have to, so what I've been trying to do is do like one day, do like a project that needs to get, cleaned up or organized or whatever. Yeah. And so like last week I did like the tools, because the tools were a mess, and then started organizing a little bit in the like my eBay room. And then I had to organize my video games. So my video games, so I had them all set up like with a switch, like a little switchboard thing that you plug everything into, and then like you can switch, just press the button and it switches over to whichever video you need. You know what I mean? Make it easy, so I had that all set up. And then I would get like new systems, or I would get systems into test, and then I would unplug shit, and then so I was constantly having to unplug shit and do like hella shit just to test video games. So it became like a pain in the ass, and then it got everything unorganized. So it was just a fucking mess. There's wires everywhere. There's still wires right now. I got to get some of those things to close the wires in. And so I got it all set up, ready to go. So like my video games are good to go now. And then I got another TV to test, and I put it next to it. It's a small TV. I'm like, all right, perfect. This will work great. So I turned it on, and I'm like going to program the remote. If I got the TV on for a few minutes, I go to program the remote, and the fucking TV shuts off. So I'm like, fuck, dude. So I don't know if the TV's dead. I didn't have time to fuck with it and check. I didn't even have time to check the cord. I'm gonna have to do it like now. But we were like on our way out when I was finishing some stuff up, and so I just barely checked it, and the TV fucking shit the bed. So I'm like, God damn it! I thought I had everything ready to go, set up. So now I gotta get another TV. It was a perfect size fucking TV. I have another one, but I don't think it's gonna work. But I'm like, man, this fucking TV was cheap. I found it. It was perfect. And now it doesn't work. So I'm like, great. Just fucking awesome. And this other TV I have, it came with remotes. And like I bought them with the remotes. And I have no idea where the remotes went. So I don't know if they're in my other, like the car my wife takes to work. Because I take 2 different cars when I'm sourcing and shit. Sometimes I take the other one, but if my wife needs it, it's whatever. So yeah, I have this TV that I can't even fucking use. I tried to set up the universal remote with it. I don't know if it's too old or what. So I'm like, I've gone through 3 TVs. I'm like, I just want a fucking small, shitty TV, like, that will work. You know what I mean? So, yeah. It's getting there. I'm very happy with the way it looks. But yeah, it's still, I just want it to be set and done so I can just be over with it. But it took like 3 fucking days to reorganize. I mean, not obviously straight up just all day, but in my spare time, just getting that shit all moved and switched and like, yeah, set up. So, yeah. And I'm sure it'll get fucking destroyed again soon. My daughter was playing games with me though, so that was cool. She was like wanting to help and test games out. So she was digging the Toy Story game. That was one we have, but she saw it. She said, "Oh, I want to play Toy Story." I was like, "All right." So we threw it on, and she played it for a bit. And yeah, she was digging it. So I'm glad that I have all those systems, because I'm sure she'll play like 2 more games in the rest of her life. But so anyway, yeah, that's all done. The next project I have to do is like, I need to reorganize the video games in the that are for sale, because for right now they're just all on a shelf, and I'm just, I would get them and just throw them on the shelf and be like, I'll just fucking find it. But it's such a pain in the ass. I have to dig through everything. If I just organize it and put it like, I'm working on being more organized. I'm so bad at it. It's not something that just like comes natural to me. So I know if you're somebody who's organized, man, I envy you, because I can't. I have to like actively try to be organized, and then I have to like, work on it, and just like, it's something that I have to do, focus on. So yeah, went to that sale, fucking all over the place. Went to that sale. The sale was cool. So I got some other stuff that they like had undervalued. I actually got some cameras from them the time before, and then this time I got a Sony Handycam. They were charging like $2 to $3 for the cameras. So I'm like, you guys have they sold me like a $200 camera and then a $150 camera for like $5, and they're like asking $75 for these fucking Disney jackets. I'm like, some of the things that people value, I just don't understand. Like, I don't get it. You know what I mean? So we'll see. I don't know. I might try to fucking circumvent that chick, the one that reached out to me, and like just go straight to the family if I can find one of the family members posted it. It was like one of the girls that was at the sale. So I might have to try something like that. Be like, hey, what's the lowest you'll sell these things for? Because let's be real, and try to get it even lower than fucking I was originally gonna pay. But so then most of the sales on Saturday got moved to Sunday. If you want to say that there wasn't even like, I thought there was going to be more sales, but there was one sale. So my wife saw a sign on her way to work, and it was just like for a neighborhood sale, and it just had like 5 addresses. And then I had one other sale, and then another one popped up. So like not a crazy amount of sales. But so I went to the neighborhood sale first, because it was further away. Got there about a half hour early, and they didn't advertise the sale at all. They just put the signs up. So it was one of those sales where like I could just cruise around the neighborhood, take my time. There was no other competition. So like I went through the first few places. I missed some records. This dude that I knew, that I told him about the sale, he had gone through and he said he saw some records, but I doubt they were anything great. I tried to go back and figure out which house it was, but I I was not feeling like getting out. So finally, I passed the first house when I got there because it didn't look great. And then went and hit the other houses, and then went back to that house. And that house ended up being the best house, the first one. But the way they had it set up, so in the front yard, they had like almost like stations. So like they had one table set up, like a round table with like, a couple things on it with a theme, like camping or whatever. And so they had a couple different tables set up, but it was like they spread it across their whole yard. So it was like you had to walk from one table over to the next, and there was plenty of space in between. But they basically set their yard sale up like the whole yard, and then it wrapped around their driveway. So like when I drove by, all I saw was the shit in the front yard, and it wasn't a ton of stuff, but it was so spread out that it was like, it didn't look great. So I was like, all right, I'm not going to even waste my time. But then I parked, and when I went up, and I was like, oh, do you have any T-shirts or anything like that? Like, old toys, video games. Like, no, none of that stuff. But we do have this thing over here. And it was, a rack with jackets and shit. So they had some Patagonia. There was some North Face. And then I saw it was a Canada Goose. And I've heard that name before. So I go, over to the Canada Goose one. And it was like brand new with tags. And so there was a few jackets that I was interested in, but they didn't have prices on it. So I was like, hey, what's the price on your jackets? And she goes, they're individually priced. And I'm like, fuck, anytime they do that, you never know what it's going to be. So I started with the Canada Goose because I'm like, maybe they overvalue the other stuff. And the Canada Goose had, on the tag, it said $170. So that was like when they purchased it, it was $170. So I took it off, and like, she's like, I was like, oh, how much for this one? She's like, $5. Or I brought over a stack. I was like, oh, these are the ones I'm interested in. I brought the Patagonia, the North Face. And so she's like, oh, this one's $5, the Canada Goose one. So that one she started at $5. I was like, all right, sold, boom. And then the other ones so I think I paid $40 for everything. So she wanted $45 for everything, for all the jackets and stuff. And there was a camping table. We're going camping in a couple weeks. So they had this camping table that they add $10 on. So I was like, oh, if I do 40, will you do because originally I said I'd do 35. And she goes, oh, well, I'll do 40. And I go, if I do 40, will you throw in the camping table? She goes, yeah. So I was like, boom, perfect. So I took the camping table. They had another cool like propane setup thing that I should have grabbed, but I didn't. It was kind of big. I thought it might be a pain in the ass for camping, and we already have like a thing to use. So I didn't end up grabbing that, but yeah, I paid $40 for everything. And then I started looking up the Canada Goose jacket, and it's like, it looks like it's probably between $500 and $1,000. Unfortunately, there was like all these fucking weird stains on it. Like it was brand new, but it had like these weird stains in different spots. Like not huge. I was able to get most of it out. So there's like a few little small places, but like luckily all the tags came off. So like the hood came off and the tag was on there, and then the other tag was just like a removable tag. So it still looks like it's brand new. But yeah, I'm gonna try again to try to get the last of those stains out. They're just like set in. So I don't know what to do. If I should just like dip it in OxyClean for a few minutes and hope that gets rid of it. But yeah. So that was probably the best find. And of course I had skipped that sale. So that was like, it's crazy. You never know. Bought some Pokemon cards. So I've got like a tub of them in a binder. This kid was selling them. So I had to like negotiate. I always hate negotiating with kids. Like I get the point that they're trying to make. Like, oh yeah, but then it's like you give them a real price and you feel almost like bad. But so I made the dad. I was like, oh, well, how much do you want for all of them? He said 40. So I was like, I'll do 30. So I've already pulled out like a stack of hollows, and I barely have started to go through it. So I don't think that they like have any idea what's in there. So there could be some good cards. It's just all the cards his kid, and they're in decent shape. They're just in a pile in like a little bin. And then there's a binder of cards that I guess he liked more. I don't know. Because I found better cards in the bin than are in the actual binder. So yeah, now I'm hoping that next week it's a lot better. It's, who knows? There's already a few, which is nice. I recently, if you live in Massachusetts, they've got like this program to like that you can go to community college for free. So I signed up for that just because I suck at like business. No, I don't suck at business, but I don't have any like actual like experience or education in business. I just kind of have been learning as I go. So I'm like, fuck, if I have an opportunity to go, like I would never pay for school. Like I wouldn't be like, oh, I'm going to pay, and be in debt for school. Like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'd rather learn, and like I've failed at I don't know how many businesses, but like you learn eventually. This is the longest running one that I've been doing. So I'm like, I might as well do some schooling. So like I submitted that stuff and I just got an email. That's why I just got distracted. So I got an email that said my financial aid is incomplete. I'm like, oh great. This is the shit that I fucking hated back about doing school, was all the extra bullshit that you have to do. But I'm like, yeah, fuck it. I'll do it. Whatever. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I figured I'd take advantage of that opportunity. Why not? Free school until they try to hit you with some shit later. Like, nah, you actually have to pay for it. But I'm not going to pay for it. Like, I won't pay for it. I just don't see the purpose. You know what I mean? There's not really a huge benefit to me going to school right now, especially with how busy I am. But I'm like, it's free. If I can get a fucking bachelor's degree out of it and just then I have that, and I didn't pay a fuckload of money to get it, and I'm not in a shitload of student debt, then fuck yeah, dude. Why not? So yeah. And I tried to get a storage unit the other day, and it like went. I was gonna bid up to 100. I should have. So I was like, I'll just do 90. So I did 90, and then somebody bid 100. And I should have just bid 100, because sometimes like when you get to that point and you're the high bidder, people don't want to go any higher. But I don't know. I wouldn't have probably had time to do anything with it this weekend. Storage units take a lot of fucking work, man. They're fun though. You can find some good shit. I'm still selling stuff out of that rat hoard. That storage unit, man. I still will like smell something to this day, and I'm like, that shit's still in my nose. Like if I smell some weird shit, I'm like, I can't. Like it smelled so bad. It was so horrible. But yeah, I made a quick ended up paying $10 for it. Made a quick I think 200 right off the bat. And then, yeah, I've just been selling shit. I've got, a bunch of other shit that I have to sell. So, but most of the gross shit's gone. Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah, let me check my little thing here. Because I actually because I was like, the last few podcasts, I run out of notes and stuff, and then I'm like just sitting there going, blah, blah, blah. So I figured I'd put down more shit than I needed to. Okay, so yeah, this is why I have to write shit down. So last weekend, I forgot about this. Last weekend I went out, and the sales again weren't great. I want to say, I'm trying to think, because I want to say that there was a sale. I went to one sale that wasn't advertised the week before when I got all those toys. And then I think I hit another sale that wasn't advertised this last week. I'm trying to remember what I ended up getting there. I don't remember. Anyway, I hit another sale, but anyway. So there was this one sale that I had seen some stuff in the pictures that I wanted, and I was like, oh well, fuck it, I'll just go over there. Sales hadn't been great, so I went to this sale, and I go, and there's this guy with a stack of CDs. So I asked the lady if she's got any more DVDs or whatever, because I see a box of them, and she was like, so she starts grabbing the boxes and putting them onto a table, which I wanted them where they were, because I could see another dude looking at shit, and where they were I was able to like box other people out and I could look at all of them at my leisure. So she moves it into this garage and I start like going through the boxes and I'm like, it smells like shit in here. And I look over and there's a fucking like little fencing and there's just chickens like right next to me. And it smells like absolute shit. And so I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm going through the CDs. I make a stack. You know, I probably had about 10 to 12 CDs. And so I go and I could hear her kind of talking to the other guy who was going through the CDs and like, you know, hearing her say the pricing. And I was like, did she just say $5 per CD? So I was like, all right, whatever. Like, I've got a few things. I'll try to make a bundle and see what we can come up with. So I show her, and you know, my stuff, and she's like, yeah. So I was gonna do $5 per CD, but I'm not gonna do that. So I'll do $25 for these CDs, and that was like more than $5, I think, at the like with the amount that I ended up keeping. And so she had like, they also had this thing that's like you would get for $1 anywhere. You know what I mean? It's probably something that sells for $5 in the store. It's like a Blue's Clues little pad of paper that you can write on, like cheap shit. And I'm like, well, how much for this? She's like, $5. And she's like, yeah, I know people sell on eBay, you know, but I got to make money too. I'm like, I don't know how much you think CDs sell for on eBay, but I usually buy them for like 50 cents to $1 at the most, like if it's something that I think is going to be worth a few bucks. But like typically I'm paying 10 to 20 cents like regularly, and she says $5. So like I had already bought something off of her. She like gave me a decent deal on these other 2 pieces of glassware that I don't usually fuck with, but and I wish I didn't buy it. I don't know why I did. But anyway, so she's like, so I'm like, I was just like shocked, you know what I mean? I wasn't trying to sound like a dick to her, but I was just like, $5 a piece? I was like, this is a yard sale. And she's like, yeah. So I just like put everything down. I left, you know, I took the stuff I had already paid for, and I was just like, all right, like I'm not going to put this, I should have put it back and like made her like, you know, but yeah, fucking $5 a CD, and you got me digging through chicken shit. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? Like, come on. So that was pretty fucking gross. Like that wasn't my favorite sale. But yeah, $5 a CD was outrageous. That was too much. Way too much. All right, so I'm just going through like my list of stuff that I have here now. I have my take on steak. I wrote that my take on steak. So I have an ordering process. I don't know why I felt the need to share this, but as it came up the other day. So my ordering, as somebody who's worked in restaurant, several different types of restaurants. You know, I'm not like a fucking restaurant expert, but I pay attention when I work at places. And the thing that I've noticed about places I've gone or places I've worked is that if it's a place specifically designed to make steak, you can order your fucking steak medium rare. It'll come out perfectly medium rare. If you're at a place that does not specialize in steak, like, but they have steak, you know, like fucking any weird chain restaurant or anywhere like that. So what I do is if I'm at a place that does not specialize in steak, I will order my steak medium. And it always comes perfect medium rare. If I'm at somewhere that knows what the fuck they're doing with steak, I'll order that shit medium rare because they're going to cook it perfectly medium rare. But it works every time. And my wife, the other day, we were out to eat. And for some reason, she talked me out of ordering my steak the way that I wanted to. And, dude, sure enough, it came back overcooked because I think I ordered it. Or no, I forget what it was, what the situation was, but it went against my code for steak. Yeah. So yeah, it works almost every time. Like I've never had it not work, I don't think. But I'll keep you posted. But try that. Yeah, if you go to a place that's just for steak, just order it the way you want it. Because they're going to do it the right way. But if it's somewhere that does not specialize in steak, just, you know, one up. I don't know if it works for every combination. Like if you like, oh, I want it medium, I'll order it medium well. I don't know if that's the way it works. But almost every time, if you order it medium, they're going to undercook it, and it's going to be medium rare, like almost perfectly medium rare. So that's just it. That's just my take on steak. I don't know why I felt the need to put that into a reselling podcast that sometimes talks about parenting, but I mean, if you're a dad, I guess you can appreciate a good steak, and so I feel like that's a good tip. Yeah, broke my phone. This thing was cruising for a bruising, man. I dropped it, I don't know how many times. And then finally, the one that did it, it was like my daughter. My phone was on, like this, we have this little, it's like an ottoman / storage bench. I don't fucking know. And my phone was just sitting on that, and my daughter likes to climb up on there. And so it slid from that, maybe like half a foot down onto like the step. There was like a wooden staircase. So it fell from that like onto the step right next to it. Not far at all, but like I dropped that thing from way higher heights and it breaks. And yeah, so I dropped it and it ended up cracking the back of my phone. It finally happened. Yeah, I was going strong for a while. I have an upgrade, but I was like, I hate getting into that. Like I know I used to convince people to do it when I sold phones, but to do that fucking payment plan. But I hate like that my bill. Like I like where my bill is at right now. I hate the idea of thinking it'll go up. Like I don't want my bill to go up. So I hate the fact that I've got like to pay for a phone. You know what I mean? That's just like, just give me the fucking phone. I pay enough for the service, and the phones don't cost anything to make. Like they're made with slave labor pretty much. So it's like, come on, just give me the fucking phone. I'll feel better about using it. You'll feel better about fucking child slaves. So yeah, it sucks. It still works. But the last time when I lost my phone, I broke it, I cracked it, and then I got in the pool by accident, and that's what happened. But I think I see what happened. My little magnet like slid up, and it I think it pushed the case. This case was solid, so it's not the case. So OtterBox, your case did do the job. I think the little magnet that was in there slid up and was like making the case not all the way flush. Because I drop this thing in this case all the time. It's like a thin case too. It was just all they had. So my case had broke, and if you buy an OtterBox case, they'll replace your case for no cost if it breaks. I don't know how many times they'll do it. But yeah, I broke my case like a few years ago, and I don't even think I had the receipt. I submitted a claim, and they sent me a new case. Like, fuck yeah. So, but unfortunately, this fucking phone, I'm going to have to get a new one at some point because, I use this shit for everything. So I wanted to talk a little bit about, do like a part 2 on fat resellers. Because, man, there are a lot of fat resellers. I was just at a storage unit auction, and so they do in-person storage unit auctions at this place. And I don't go all the time because there's almost never worth it. Like, I've never bought a storage unit at a live auction, not once. Had opportunities to. They were cheap enough, so they were, for a while it was like just a handful of people that were going to this company's things. So I don't know if they were like newer or what, but like the last couple times I've gone, there's been like way more people. This time there was a bunch of people, and they weren't great units. There were only like 3. They always say that they have this many units, and then it's always down to like 3 when you get there. On other occasions, they've just straight up canceled them. So it's like I only go if they're in my town or if they're like in the next town, and it says there's going to be a lot of units because it'll tell you there's a lot. So if there's a lot, then it's like the chances of all of them getting canceled are very slim. But anyway, the thing I noticed was that like resellers are really fat. Like not all of them, but as a profession, like I get that people like to do reselling because they're like, I don't want a normal job, or some people are on disability and whatnot. But man, some of the just fat fucks that I saw waiting at the storage unit. And I'm not like I'm not a fucking petite, lean guy, but I try to work out. I try not to eat like complete shit. Don't always succeed. Um, take vitamins, do all that shit. And then I've got like, the competition's just, so it's good for me in terms of like competition, because half these people are going to fucking drop dead while trying to clean out a state, an attic. Like, man, some of the dudes I saw, I'm like, how do you do this job? Like, this is one of the most like physically grueling jobs, like, and you're just like enormous. I'm not trying to be fat phobic or fucking fat shame. I guess I am fat shaming. It's not healthy. What do you mean? It makes my job easier. You know what I mean? And then the other, this is where it came in again, was because we were walking in. So I was walking into that sale that I had been to before, that second day of the sale, and there was a gate. So I knew from the first time I went kind of the layout of the house. But when I got there was already like a group of people standing there waiting. It was like, they were all heavy people. And so as we were starting to walk in, this other dude showed up, and he's like a younger dude, and he's skinny. He's like, hella skinny. And I'd seen him before at other things. And so my rationale was like, all right, I'm going to try. I feel bad just cutting in front of these guys, even though I should have just done it. You know what I mean? They're fat. But the other dude just cut right around them. You know what I mean? Because they walk so slow. So I ended up cutting around like a half of them. But it's like, that's another reason, man. You got to get yourself in shape if you're trying to do this shit, because the competition is just going to go run right by. I should have just ran right by those motherfuckers. But I knew the layout of the house, and I knew what that dude was there for. He was there for those Disney jackets and possibly vintage clothes. But I got to jump on it because he went to the Disney jackets, and I was like, shoop, and just shot into the other clothes that were cheaper at the time. So I got a decent little haul. But yeah, it's just another example in reselling of if you're fat fuck, man, somebody's gonna run by you and get the treasure before you. It's a PSA. That's my public service announcement. And as a fellow fat reseller, again, I'm not saying this is like, it's just shocking how many fucking fat resellers I see. Yeah, and they typically, the ones that are the bigger ones, I don't know how much better they do as far as reselling. Because I've noticed that like there's this one dude who's in this area who's really big, and his like, he must go to storage auctions and do other shit, but he just has yard sales, and then he prices his shit crazy high. And I'm like, I don't know how people make money. Some of the business models I see, some of the prices on Facebook Marketplace, some of the people's like inability to or like lack of desire to make deals, it's crazy, man. I'm always trying to make deals. If you hit me up and you're like, hey, you got this for this much money, if it's reasonable, you know what I mean? If it's brand new too, a lot of times if I just listed something, I actually fucked up this weekend. I had somebody sent me an offer on some shoes. I paid $15 for them. Their offer was $30. They'd been sitting forever, and I was like, all right, fuck yeah, I'll take this offer. So I lowered the price. What I do is, like, let's say I have it for $50 and they offer me $20. I'll just lower it $10 at a time if I've got other watchers, and then hopefully it will sell. And so that's what I was going to do, but then I just got busy with the weekend, and I forgot to go back and accept that offer. So I just completely missed out on $30. Just because I was fucking busy. But yeah, just fucked up. I was so mad at myself for that. And then I lowered the price to $30, and then of course they don't buy it then. They're just like, they're petty. They're like, oh, you fucking didn't take my offer. It's like, no, I didn't mean to. And I don't even know who it was from. You know what I mean? I can't even go in and be like, hey, sorry. Like, eBay's kind of weird about that. Anyway. Yeah, sorry, fat resellers. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It's just something I noticed. So yeah, the other thing because I'm on Facebook Marketplace a lot, so you have to go on the Facebook app, and you get a lot of Facebook Reels, which are very distracting. Half of them are fucking AI. Um, but they are very, like, they know what I'm into. Like, they get me with shark videos all the time. I fucking hate sharks. But for some reason, that's just what the Facebook algorithm thinks I like, is fucking shark videos, because they're constantly showing me videos of sharks. And then they always get me with like parenting videos, because I'm like, oh, it'll tell you like a little headline. It's like things you should say to your child before they're too old. And then you start watching them. It's all like sad shit, like your child is blah 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 blah. One day you're gonna. It's like, dude, just live in the fucking present moment when you're hanging out with your children. I catch myself sometimes like thinking about like, oh, the shit we can do when my kids are older. I'm like, my kids aren't older. They're like a different person right now. So I just try to enjoy the time that we're having right now, rather than like, you know, being like, oh, I need to do this because one day my kid's gonna be, older and fucking. So all of the TikTok parenting videos that pop up on Facebook Reels, it's either terrible advice that doesn't work, or it's like sad shit. It's just like shit that's like, why? I don't want to be sad. It's the middle of the fucking day. What are we doing here? But I keep clicking on it, and so it just keeps popping up. I don't get it. I know how the algorithm works. But it fucking gets me every time. And every time I'm like, maybe this advice will be better than the, because you're a parent, you don't know, you're trying to learn shit. I'm trying to use every tool at my disposal to be a better dad and a father and a husband and do all that shit. And you got these retards on fucking TikTok like talking about God knows what. Their kids' names are like Shiloh and fucking Osmosis or something. I don't know. Yeah, they call him Ozzy for short. Shit. All right, let me go back to, I'm sorry, that just made me laugh. But yeah, so then the next thing, so I went to this yard sale this last weekend. I just kind of have been, oh shit, I'm fucking up. I hit the camera button, so it's like recording what I'm saying. I went to, so at that same like family yard sale, not family, neighborhood yard sale, there was this one house and there was this guy, and as I walked up, he was a big fat dude. He wasn't a reseller, but he was a big fat dude. He's sitting there smoking a cigarette. It's like fucking 8:30 in the morning, fucking sweating and smoking a cigarette. And I was like, you guys open? His wife's over there doing all the work. So I go over and he's got like, he's like, oh, I got sports cards. I was like, oh, you got any old toys or like t-shirts? And he was a big dude. I could see they had some t-shirts. And so he said that she had a ton of t-shirts, but not there. So I gave him my card, like, let me know. And he pulls out these red line Hot Wheels cars. And I don't know shit about Hot Wheels and stuff like that. I try to learn, but there's so many of them, and especially the older ones. And I know condition matters, and these weren't in great condition. And his starting price was like $200. So I was like, yeah, I took some pictures and I gave him my info, and I was like, yeah, just let me know if you decide to go down on it. And because I don't know how much to fucking pay on them. I was going to do some Google Lens stuff, but yeah, the condition wasn't great. And he was trying to tell me that he looked on eBay, and he knew the difference between sold and what was listed because he said it first. And he was like, so he's like, yeah, he's like, this is what people are asking for them. I don't know. I know that they don't necessarily want that. So you could tell he wanted to sell them, but he was trying to get the most money he could. I probably could have offered him $50 for him, but again, I don't know if that's too much, too little. Like, so I'm going to look up some of the cars that he had. I don't even know how to get a hold of the guy. I could drive back over there and ask him if I decide that it's worth it. But, yeah, I just don't know. Anytime I fucking think I've bought Redline cars before and they never end up being worth it. So, and the condition on these, like, they were fucked up. They were like missing pieces and paint wear and all that shit. I think my daughter fell asleep. We went to playground today, and it's been so hot. like crazy fucking hot that you can't even like the kids don't even want to go outside. Like you go outside and it's humid and muggy and shit. And so today it was actually pretty warm, like not hot warm, but like it was actually manageable. Oh shit, I gotta check on the other kid. Forgot I have 2 kids here. So it was actually manageable. So my neighbor hit me up. Sorry, he was taking his daughters to the playground. He asked if we wanted to go. So it was like I had already planned on going out and doing something because I went outside real quick and it was like actually like warm and breezy. So into this playground down. It's like by this area of water. So yeah, they ran around there. They were going hard in the paint, and she's sleeping now. She doesn't usually take a nap, so she's clearly tired from that excursion. But yeah, it's been so hot that like we've just had to hang out in the house. If you go outside, it's just like the kids don't even want to stay outside. Like that's how hot it is. They're like, no. I'm like, do you want to go out? They're like, no. And normally when it's like a nice day and you're like, hey, you guys want to go outside? They're like, hell yeah. But that's how hot it's been where the kids are like, and then you know, I'm like, fuck, I'd rather stay inside with the AC, you know what I mean, than have to stand outside and, you know, make sure they're not fucking into poison ivy or whatever the fuck. So, yeah, it's finally, but it's weird because it's usually August is like the hottest month where we're at in Massachusetts. But I mean, obviously it could still get hotter. It's hot now. It's like, you know, it's like 80 today, but this morning it was, you know, 70s. So it was manageable. But yeah, dude, the playground. I like taking the kids to the playground. But there's always like a couple older kids that it's like, why the fuck are you here? Like there was this one older kid. I'm assuming he was somebody's brother or something, but he was just like running around chasing the kids around. And then he kept like, he would like chase the kids to like he was chasing the same kids. So it was like kids that he was with that knew them. But then like other kids would be there and like they'd be blocking. Like my daughter was trying to get through this big slide and like she's up on top, so I can't like help her out. Plus I try to like let her handle her own business at the fucking playground. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the jungle. Get her ready for school. But yeah, there's always like older kids. It's like, why the fuck are you here? Like, you know, not like, oh, it's like a little bit older, but like way too old to be there. But yeah, it was pretty bumping today at that park. But yeah, it's crazy when you go to the playground because you see all different types of people and parents and like, you know, it's wild. It depends on which park you go to. Sometimes you go, like I went to one. Oh yeah, dude, I completely forgot. I started talking about this fat guy. Sorry, I'm going to jump back to this story because that's what I really wanted to talk about. The guy smoking the cigarette, the Red Line Hot Wheels. So, you know, we're talking and I had bought a uncut sheet of Topps cards. So it was like NFL. So it's like a cool little, you know, 90s looking display. But it doesn't go for a ton of money, so I'll probably try to give it to one of my friends who have like man caves and shit. And so I bought that from him for like $5 or something like that. And he shows me he's got like sports cards and he's got all of them. Like he's telling me like, oh, these are all the ones that were like $2 to $3 on eBay. I put them like each one in a sleeve and this, that, and the other. And I'm just thinking like I don't want to actually go through these cards. Like I have no desire. So, but he's like talking and I'm trying to get out of the conversation and I'm like slowly walking back and I'm like, all right, I just wanted to see the cards. Like maybe he would have had something, but you know, clearly he's like, you know, got an idea of what these cards are worth. So you know, it's not really worth my time to sit here. I don't specialize in this shit. Like normally I'll pick it up if they're like just like giving it away because then I can just go through it whenever. But if I'm like spending money on it, I have to go through and flip it. And so, but as he's talking to me, he just keeps saying fuck. Like, not like a Tourette's thing, but like he's just like, yeah, you know, I got these fucking Hot Wheels cars, but he kept getting louder So like as he was saying, he was like, yeah, I got the fucking Hot Wheels cars, and there's like these fucking people, and he just kept doing it. Random, because he wasn't doing that at first, but I think he got to the point where he's like, comfortable with me or whatever. I don't know. I'm very like most of the people who are resellers in my area, like they're like borderline autistic, like fucking weird, like antisocial, rude a lot of times. Like they just walk up and bark like, "You got video games?" and they fucking leave. Not all of them, but like a good handful of them. So like a lot of people, I think, expect people who come early to yard sales to just be like absolute cretins. But so anytime I go to yard sales, I'm always very polite. Like I went to the first stop in this neighborhood one, and I'm like, "Hi, are you open?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "Do you mind if I start looking?" Or I said, "Hi, are you guys like open?" She's like, "Oh, I'm still getting set up." I was like, "Oh, do you mind if I look?" And she goes, "Yeah, that's fine. Thank you for asking." Because a lot of people will just like walk up and like um, and so like I don't like to do that. I don't like to just walk up and touch people's shit. Like, I know it's like some people will get a power trip over their yard sale, so that's why I would just go up and ask. Sometimes they're like, "No, you can't look," and if they tell me no that I can't look, I'm like, "All right, I'm gonna leave," because your shit's gonna be overpriced. 9 times out of 10, if you're not letting me look at your shit early, your shit's gonna be overpriced. You know what I mean? Maybe it's gonna be reasonably priced, but most of the time it's just some fucking weirdo who's like out some power trip. He's like, "No, I can't open my sale, my 1 day sale, fucking 15 minutes early. I have to wait till the exact time because I said so." You know what I mean? It's like you're having a 1 day fucking sale. I don't know how I just started ranting and raving about people in having their own set times. I sometimes don't open on until the time, but whatever. I don't know how I got into fucking saying that. But anyway, this guy's just like cursing. And I know I'm cursing this entire time as I'm talking, but this is the podcast. That's how I fucking talk. But this guy, so he must have got comfortable with me because I was putting on the morning charm, you know what I mean? Or just, being polite and just like, having a conversation. And, but yeah, he just keeps like saying fuck and like getting louder and louder. And across the street is like a lady having a sale with her kids are outside. Her shit was overpriced, so she kind of deserved to, have her children get F-bombs dropped. She was trying to charge like $25 for shoes and shit. I'm like, come on, lady. What are we doing here? And they didn't even advertise the sale. It's like, you didn't even advertise the sale. I'm probably the only person who's going to come through here the entire day, and you just fucking outpriced yourself out of anything. I would have bought a few things, but she was like, no, her prices were crazy. But yeah, it was just weird. Just like randomly started to fucking curse and get louder about it. And I was like, okay, time for me to go before the neighbors just get pissed at me. So yeah, I guess I wanted to, since this is partially parenting podcast, I'll talk about my daughter's been into. So for a while, she was listening to. Sorry, I had to get a sip of water. For a while, she was listening to Frozen, like Frozen 1 and Frozen 2, and just she was singing the songs nonstop, which is fine. You get used to it. It's just over and over and over and over and over. But lately, she's been like kind of expanding. So one of the songs that she's been asking for all the time is Miley Cyrus "Wrecking Ball." So we've been singing "Wrecking Ball" together. I just thought that was pretty funny. It's like one of her favorite songs to sing. I think it's just because like she knows. Like I still don't know the words though, which is crazy. We've been singing it a ton. I've still like, I've loved that song for a long time. I love Miley Cyrus. Don't get me wrong. But like I've loved that song for a long time, and so like singing it with my daughter is really fun. But I still don't know the words. Like after singing it repeatedly, because for a while, anytime it was on, it was like because I was fucked up or on drugs or whatever, and I would be like, oh, that's I would be listening to it while partying, or whatever. But now it's like I've been singing it with my daughter. I'm like, you'd think I would know the words to this song, but I still like don't even. I don't know if it's the way she sings it. I don't understand her. But yeah, we still have fun singing it. Neither one of us know all the words, so that's always fun. And then I tried to see if she'd like. So one of my favorite songs too, for some fucking reason, I don't know why, but it's the theme song to the Goonies. Goonies Are Good Enough by Cyndi Lauper. I fucking love that song. So I thought she might like it because it's like, kind of like a song you can sing, like, it's good enough for me. But she halfway through, she's like, can we change this? So yeah, so she still cycles in between Frozen. But one of the songs that she likes, so I don't know if you've ever heard of Miss Rachel, but Miss Rachel is like a teacher or some shit that's like became a YouTube sensation. I can't even imagine how much money this bitch makes. She doesn't even she puts out a new video every once in a while, but it's just like recycled clips from her old videos for the most part. Like there's new shit I think that they've shot, but every time I watch it, I'm like, this is like the same, like you just are recycling your old videos. But man, I can only imagine, like, that's the game, dude, is to come up with a children's show. Like if I could not curse, I could do a children's show. But I can't not, like, and I don't, why I could not curse, because I don't just sit, like, this is the way I talk to adults, or when I talk just in my head. So since I'm like kind of talking out loud, I could probably do it without cursing. But what would be the point? You know what I mean? You want kids to learn the good, the bad, and everything in between. No, I'm kidding. So yeah, Miss Rachel fucking. And so there was an episode of Miss Rachel where she does Ghostbusters. So my daughter thinks that the Ghostbusters theme song is from Miss Rachel. She always goes, "Oh, that's from Miss Rachel." But the Ghostbusters theme song at the end, and I didn't realize this until I listened to the song when I was older, until you start hearing it 50 fucking times. So we started singing it, and at the end, Ray Parker Jr., I think that's his name, he goes, "Bustin' makes me feel good." If you don't believe me, listen to Ghostbusters. At the very end, he says it one time, and I think that's intentional. You know what I mean? You can't just go, if you say the whole song like "Bustin' makes me feel good," it's kind of obvious. But yeah, they just like, he says Ghostbusters about 1,000 times, and in between that one, he says, "Bustin' makes me feel good." He knew what he was doing. But I'm like, and we always play it. I can't like turn that part down. It's my daughter. I'd be like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And plus, I don't think he intended. You know what I mean? I don't. It had to be intended that way. You can't not. You know what I mean? Like, it's an '80s movie that was like, it's really not a kids movie. Like the original Ghostbusters movie is not really for kids. Like, it's more of a horror movie. Like, there's comedy and there's like, sexual shit. But yeah, it's definitely not. I don't think it's a kids movie. Like, I wouldn't let my kid watch Ghostbusters movie right now. But yeah, Bustin' makes me feel good, dude. These ants. I'm just looking around. There's fucking ants everywhere. My God. I think we have more of those traps. I'm gonna put them out. Kill these little fuckers. So yeah, that's the end of the podcast. That was a quick hour. I gotta start putting more. I don't know if it's because I haven't done. Well, it's been like a week and a half, but I think I keep coming ill prepared, and I think that I need to be more prepared. And the episodes where I have more written down goes a little bit smoother than when I'm trying to just remember the shit that I was gonna try to talk about. So, yeah, we're moving. We're fucking moving right along. We're getting there. I promise I will have video at some point. My daughter's going to be starting school soon, so I'm really hoping to have some more time in the mornings. So I'm going to see if my mom can take my youngest like one day a week so I can work on editing and do other shit. So we'll see. So, all right. That's the podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe, tell your friends. And just remember that Bustin' can feel good, can make you feel good, and Bustin' makes me feel good.